On this episode of Star Trek Universe, our review of Star Trek Strange New Worlds 104, Memento Mori, right after these important messages emanating from within the brown dwarf.
Welcome to Star Trek Universe, the podcast where you get to listen in on two lifelong friends talking about Star Trek. My name's Matthew Carroll.
I am David C. Robertson.
How you doing, Dave?
Let me tell you, man.
Yeah.
At the beginning of this episode, I was eating a Sonic burger and chili cheese tots. By the end there, I had a brown dwarf tethered to my black hole.
Gross. Why? Why do we have to start every episode this way?
Because not every episode, but the most overwhelming thing about this episode for me was that me and my wife just kept laughing every time they said brown dwarf or black hole.
You're children. You're both absolute children.
That's why we don't have any. We're child enough.
Yeah, child enough, and they're in the house. Yeah, man. I gotta say, I drove 11 hours today, and I got home, and I was like, man, I don't know about watching an episode of Star Trek and doing the cast. I've been driving so long, so tired. And then I started this episode, and I was like, oh, we'll just see how it goes.
Yeah.
This episode kept me up, man. I liked it a lot.
Cool, man.
I really, really liked it. Just we've talked a lot about, even with Picard and stuff, like that one scene on the Stargazer feeling like, oh, it feels like Starfleet, like this doesn't feel like, I don't know, Discovery, even though they have moments that feel a little Starfleet, like it always feels like it's just one person making a decision. There doesn't ever feel like there's a chain of command hardly. Like it just always feels like characters doing things, like they don't feel like they're following regulations anymore. They don't feel like, it just kind of feels a little haphazard. Same thing with Picard. Just having them on the bridge, like talking like a crew, like belay that. Wait, do this. Like red alert, yellow alert, shields up. Nope, wait, belay that. Communicate. Like just that same old patter that I'm so used to from original series, Next Generation. Like just that. Yeah. I loved hearing the bridge crew just chatting, like just doing Starfleet things. It was just really nice. It's very comfortable, and
I will agree with that with caveats.
Okay,
but yeah.
It just felt nice. It just felt nice to be on the bridge of a starship and have the crew talking like starship members.
Everyone but Ortega's.
Well, she does it too. But then she does have a few lines. I liked her lines this episode, though.
I did not. I liked the freak or tweak or whatever from last week.
I really loved her line delivery on "Space really wants us dead."
That wasn't bad. That one wasn't bad. It was just, there was a scene, I don't remember what she said, like Pike gave her an order, and she just said some kind of like snarky shit. And he had the same reaction I did, where he was just like, really? Like, he's just like looking at her like, dude, do your job and shut up,
Oh, man. I don't know which line you're talking about, but I don't remember.
She's just always got these like little like quirky, snarky things. Yeah. It's like, I'm not digging her so far. I'm just not digging that character or what they're choosing to do with her so far.
Well, we haven't gotten a episode focused on her yet. I think this was our Lon focused episode, which we've gotten. I feel like we've gotten a good bit of Lon in the previous episodes, but this was the first one really from her perspective. And I really appreciate it. It made me really get into her character a lot more.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it pans out as far as how I feel about her at the end of the season.
Yeah, she's plucky comic relief right now.
Yeah, and I feel like she says really obvious stuff, but that's their version of humor on this show, is just characters saying really obvious things that the snarky character TM says in every show. Oh, here's the thing. So we all remember how tough it is, supposedly, to get into Starfleet Academy. Spock just talked about how tough the numbers are in the second episode. this is a place that requires you to be so friggin' smart that Wesley Crusher failed his first time applying. Wesley, boy genius who saved the Enterprise almost every episode of TNG Season 1. And now I'm a traveler guarding time. Crusher. Failed. So how are you going to beat those odds Spock talked about? Work your ass off to become a pilot good enough to fly the freaking Federation flagship. And ask something like, why is that dot bigger than the others? Kid, if you need help cracking that cipher, you got no business in Starfleet. I'm sorry. It was a small quibble because I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I love this episode. I thought you would because we've talked about in the past how much you love the like submarine feeling of Star Trek. Like when Star Trek battles feel like submarine battles, it feels right to you. That Star Trek.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We've talked about it in the past. It's something I really like too. I really like it especially in I think it's Star Trek 3.
2.
Is it 2? Oh yeah, it's Khan.
Mm-hmm. Wrath of Khan. And this felt very Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, for sure.
With them in the brown dwarf.
I love the submarine battle. I love the threat of these Gorn ships and having to take them out one at a time, having to come up with a new idea for each one, having to be clever enough to keep beating the Gorn that they're like, getting away from each ship individually. I liked it a lot. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked the beginning a lot where they go down to the planet and it's just like bloodbath, like such a horror feel. And I did laugh because when the dog like jumped at it and started barking and like all the other Starfleet officers just like very serious holding their guns and they're like, hey. Yeah. It's like, and my wife was like, that's not funny. Don't laugh at that guy. Like, do your jobs, you dicks. I'm like, no, it's pretty funny. They would totally do that.
Yeah. I like that they snickered. And also, I just liked that there was a dog. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't normally have dogs on these worlds.
Right.
And they'd take their dogs with them.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought they ratcheted up the tension very well as they obviously, Noonien Singh is figuring out like, okay, well, this seems very familiar to me. And then when the colonists
give the clicking
SOS,
noise.
Yeah, yeah. She was like, I really enjoy that where she was just like, we have to have shields up right now, and just fighting for Pike to listen to her. And then he's like, well, we can't do the shields right now because we got the damn tube going across the. I liked all of that.
Yeah, dude,
and
me too.
I thought that was really neat, and I don't know what the solution is for me on this, but I felt like zero stakes in that big cliffhanger moment where they were like, "Oh God, Uhura and Himmer aren't speaking."
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm like, why are they building this up so much? Like, I know that Uhura's not dead.
Well, they had two big moments. They had two big possible death moments. It was the Himmer and Uhura in the shuttle bay. And then the other one was Spock and Lon getting on the shuttle to go somewhere. Yeah. And they were like, the suicide mission. Are you sure you want to do it? And they're like, we'll go. We'll do this, Captain. It's like...
And he just kind of poked out there and watched him go, okay, we're going back. It wasn't scary at all.
Right. But the thing that was crazy to me is that, like, from a writing perspective, you want those moments to be tense, and they made sure to send an original series crew member with each of them. And I was like, well, I'm no longer worried about that ship, you know? I know this is going to work out fine. I had the same feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, canon. We're not supposed to acknowledge it anymore.
What do you mean?
But I mean, it's not so, the fans get angry, but Spock said he had never done a mind meld on a human in Dagger of the Mind, and here he is doing a mind meld on a human. Just saying.
Oh yeah.
just little things that stick in my head that I'm like, damn it. Why are they ignoring that?
Wouldn't he have also probably mind melded with his sister at some point? Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember Discovery.
Although they did have a moment of his sister's voice in this episode.
Right. He's not supposed to acknowledge his sister, though. You know.
Right.
And that was funny, too. Like, they're like, oh, yeah. But, like, Pike is wearing, like, his little remembrance badges of Discovery. So I'm like, what?
Oh, really?
People are like, yeah. So, like, people are, like, looking at his badge going, what's that ship? And he's like, nothing.
Oh, no. I think it was supposed to be destroyed with all hands lost.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah, that's how they covered it up. And they didn't ever talk about the spore drive. The spore drive was put into secrecy, and the Discovery was lost with all hands in the battle with the AI. So that's why it would make sense, actually. Okay.
I'll say that. I thought they were like disavowing any knowledge of Discovery ever happening. Like, what's
Wasn't
Discovery?
Last week we had a ship named the Stamets. One of the shuttles is named Stamets, which I think was also a remembrance of the crew that was lost, which is kind of fun.
Well, yeah, but there's also like a real life Paul Stamets who was like into the mycelial network stuff, like the mushroom stuff. Like,
oh, really?
That was like a real person.
Weird.
So
okay.
It was, they could have been referencing that.
I assumed in this particular instance, though, since they just lost the crewman Stamets, they probably named that shuttle after Stamets.
I did too.
It's kind of fun.
Honestly.
Yeah, man. I like the sub chase. I really liked using the gravity to just like drop the bomb on them. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
I like the like clever science figuring shit out, man. It's just fun.
I enjoyed the episode mostly. A great deal.
Yeah.
It did a really good job. I loved freaking M'Benga using his plasma to save number one.
Yeah.
All of that was good. I'm really like, even though she is nothing, absolutely nothing like Nurse Chapel in the original series. I'm really digging Nurse Chapel. I really am.
Me too.
Like, I feel like I need to say that because I've complained just that she's not like her at all. And I just don't see how that personality becomes that personality. But at the same time, I'm really enjoying her anyway. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I really like Nurse Chapel a lot. I don't have as strong a memories of Nurse Chapel in the original series, but the memories I do have don't feel so conflicting with this one. This one feels like a younger version. Could be a younger, more impetuous, more like, whatever, more brash version of that older character. I could see it, but I don't know her as well as you do. So.
Yeah. I mean, I could see, this Nurse Chapel maybe just after working with someone so, kind and patient like M'Benga, like getting a little older and just once she like meets McCoy and he's her boss, just like getting beaten down emotionally because McCoy was such an asshole.
She was so hopeful. She had so many dreams, and then she's
McCoy. Like, it's been like freaking 15 years. McCoy's a dick. Spock still won't have sex with me. What the hell, man? This sucks.
Oh man, I just liked they just had so many good little things in here that are just so close to my heart. I loved how much Pike loves the Enterprise.
Yeah.
I believe in Enterprise. She can handle it. And then as they go down deeper into the brown dwarf, sorry, I was holding for a laugh. If that was...
I know. I was just thinking. You said good little things, and then I thought big brown dwarfs.
So
I'm a child. I'm sorry.
But I love that. I love how much he's just like trusting in the Enterprise, like completely just like his faith in the Enterprise is, and then as they go deeper, he's like, she'll hold. I love it.
And what's funny to me is like I didn't at all at any point did I think that's faith in the Enterprise. I thought Pike knows his future. He's like, I'm not gonna die here.
That's a good point. That didn't cross my mind. I was thinking of like Kirk's love and trust in the Enterprise and Scotty's, and like I was also thinking of like Malcolm Reynolds just talking about his ship, you know, like she's beat up plenty, but she'll hold true.
Right.
She'll fly true.
I think that was like one of the little sticking points for Pike here, is that, you know, he had such faith because he knows the future. He knows his future. But then we wind up with 7 people in caskets at the end of this episode. And every time someone died, you saw that look of turmoil on Pike's face. That realization that the Enterprise will hold, I will hold, but not everyone will. Like, you can't just make these decisions willy-nilly. Other people are going to die. And he's known this. Yeah. This has always been like a big sticking point for Pike since the pilot. Like, that was why he didn't think he wanted to be captain anymore, because he didn't want to send anybody else to their death. But, yeah, I enjoyed that particularly. And that's what I was thinking of the entire time was, you know, dude's seen his future. He knows he's not going out this way.
I don't know why that didn't even cross my mind this episode, but probably because of the 11-hour drive. But I just was thinking of it completely as just him, you know, him trusting the ship and wanting, you know, believing in it. His sort of like complicated issues with faith, and I just and belief. And I love the line he's talking to Lon, and he says, you know, you need to give them hope. Like, you can't. Yes, it's okay to be blunt, but you need to give them hope. And she's like, I will make that adjustment, but I won't lie to them. And he says, the best miracles are born from truth.
Yeah.
I love you, Pike. I love you so much.
That was good stuff. I did enjoy that.
There's a line on an Orville episode we just covered on Pandavision, where there's some time travel shenanigans going on. And he's like, the captain's like, you know, I don't know. If this is the multiple universe, if this time travel is causing multiple universes, it doesn't matter what we tell her. But if it's the same universe, we need to lock her in a cargo hold and let her see anything. And then he's like, when in doubt, I guess tell the truth. And I just love that. I love a captain that's just like, I just believe in the truth. You know, like I don't know. It's an ethic I really like in a captain. And I mean, it goes with, to me, it's the same like Starfleet belief in science, belief in, you know, logic, like all of that is just the same sort of just like, we believe in truth. There is truth. You can find it. You can, you know, do your best to know it and live by it. And I just love it.
You can flog your dolphin to it.
You could rim right around the edge of that black hole.
Until the mustard squirts.
What? I don't even know what that reference is, and I don't want to.
I don't know, man.
Speaking of him letting all those people die, though.
Yeah, man.
As the lower decks are crushed, and that one guy dies, you know, and I'm just a sucker for it. There's a jaded part of me watching every Starfleet officer making these selfless decisions that's going like, oh, come on, everybody has to make a sacrifice this episode. Like, the one guy pushes him through, and then Una's like, don't give me blood, give her blood. And then Mbinga is like, you know, sending his own blood into Una. Like, it's just this cycle of sacrifice. And part of me is jaded and like, everybody's so perfect. But then, like, the other part of me is like, I love this so much.
Yeah, I mean, they're in Starfleet, and it just so happens this is the day where they're all wearing badges about people who sacrificed. Like, they've all been guilted into it on this day.
That's true. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But I love it too. Like, you know, needs of the many and all that. I don't know. It comes from some old movie that needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was maybe one of the. Was it a Star Wars?
Was it an E.T.?
The Goonies.
It was the Goonies. It was
Goonies, wasn't it?
Sloth.
Damn Dick Donner. Yeah, Sloth said it. Yeah. He was eating that Snickers bar and going, "Honey, got the mini."
I know it was a guy with strange ears.
Yeah. No, it was Salacious Crumb in the Return of the Jedi. They had to put subtitles because he said it, but without the subtitles, it was just
what a weird thing for that little guy to say.
It was actually very profound, you know?
Yeah, he seems so off his rocker, but he's just spitting wisdom all the time.
That was his language. They didn't have the universal translator
totally.
At Jabba's hut.
I don't think it's
Isn't that what it was called?
I don't think it's a hut. It's not like Pizza Hut. It's Jabba the Hut. He's the hut.
Jabba was a hut, but he had a hut, and it was like atop a floating slave ship. And
that was a hutch.
Oh, okay.
Little table in the hallway. Jabba's. So, the thing I was going to say about logic and that line is they had him say it without saying it, and I loved this line because it goes even deeper. He says, "You made the logical choice," and then Pike says, "Why doesn't it feel like that?" And he said, "For the same reason you made it, because you value life."
Yeah,
just so good, man. Just so good. There's so much good in this episode. I have no problems with it. None at all. I love every bit of it.
Yeah. I mean, mine are small, you know.
Right.
Mine are small little points of, they overdid the whole, like, flashes of La'an's brother. And he was just giving a creepy smile. And I didn't like that. It was like a little weird little smile. Like he was some, like, evil ghost. And then it turned out he was, like, her brother that sacrificed himself. And by the way, I knew it was her brother. It had to be her brother.
Sure.
And also, was I the only person who said, at the very beginning of the episode, La'an doesn't like to relive the past. I bet that's the way she's going to save the ship, is reliving her past.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exactly subtle.
Right.
Not a huge problem, but also a thing that bugs me, where it's just like, oh man, okay. But,
yeah, that didn't bug me. I really liked this, using her history with the Gorn in a very different context to understand the way that they hunt, the way that they think, the relentless nature of the Gorn, all that stuff. Like, I just really liked. I liked the expansion of, you know, the Gorn and the way they do things, for sure. Like, that very underutilized species on Star Trek. Mm-hmm. And I think after that first episode of the original series, subsequently they were just like, "There's no way we're going to make it look good. That fight scene is a joke. Like, everyone knows that slow motion fight scene with Kirk, and it just looks awful. We were setting up the Gorn to be this big badass thing, and it's just, we can't do it yet." Well, back to the Klingons. I'm interested to see how they do them when they actually have to fight. Like, if they see them, you know.
Well, they're not supposed to see them until the original series for real.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, I just loved it. I loved how when he has the Gorn ship follow them all the way down and says, "You told me," she's like, "I told you they were relentless hunters. You exploited that as a weakness." Yeah. Just good. Which
I loved, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
I say they're not supposed to see him, and they even say in this episode, no one sees him because no one lives to tell about it.
Right, except for La'an.
But, you know, my man Lorca had a freaking Gorn skeleton in his trophy room.
I guess you could just say they found the skeleton, I guess.
Yeah. And that skeleton looked like the original series to me. So, whatever.
Yeah. Even using the Gorn there to talk about Starfleet and its ideals, like she says, Starfleet tells you that if you can have empathy for someone, if you can have empathy for your enemy, one day they may become your friend.
Right.
And then she says, but that's not the Gorn. They're monsters. They're just monsters.
Yeah. That shit ain't right, y'all. The Gorn are evil.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was down with all that. Is it weird? I'm sorry. I can't help but mention it. La'an's brother was named Manu, which means his name was Manu Noonien Singh.
Manu Noonien?
Manu Noonien.
I like it. I like it more than Manu.
I was just sitting there, she's like, Manu, and I'm like, Manu Noonien? Manu Noonien Singh?
I love it.
Who came up with that? All right, I guess we're doing that.
Nope, not weird to me. Manu Noonien. I think I'll That's my new mantra.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow while I do my yoga, I'll say Manununian. Manununian.
Yeah, it's just your little mantra now.
Manununian.
I hope in real life, by the 23rd century, people still aren't saying, and the crowd goes wild after they complete a task successfully.
Yeah, I hear you.
Which did not feel like Uhura, but also not even this version of Uhura. It just felt weird, and it's so cliche.
I don't know. I really think I hear you. I think this is Uhura. You're talking about Chapel not seeming like Chapel. I think this Uhura feels like Uhura to me. Like really,
most of the time.
Yeah,
most of the time.
Her this whole episode, the way she's responding to Himmer and the way she's sort of like lifting his spirits and kind of being sort of like big in her personality and stuff, like that reminds me so much of original series of horror. I especially in the movies when she gets a little more to do.
I can see that, but then there are these little like places where sort of like Generations where you're just like they just had lines and like Nimoy wouldn't come back because he was like, anybody could say these lines. These don't, there's no reason for Spock to be here. And sure enough, they threw Chekhov and Scotty in. Mm-hmm. It's like, they'll just throw in these little like jokey things that are kind of cliche and don't really mean anything for the character. And they gave that one to Uhura this time. And it felt weird to me. You're just like, okay, well, whatever. But I did like Himmer and Uhura's, bullshit going back and forth, like him saying like you didn't study, and she's like knows all the things, and he's like, okay, all right, well, you're gonna have to do a little more to impress me, but damn it, okay. And I enjoyed him a lot this episode too.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm not shitting on it, y'all. I just they're little things.
Yeah, no, I didn't think you were shitting on it. I'm like just glowingly positive on this one.
You are.
More so than I have been. And I think I'm starting to really care about a lot of the characters now. For whatever reason. I guess it finally hit me. Some of these characters that I've been kind of like, whatever, are starting to be like, I like Ortega now. Or Ortegas.
Yeah.
And I really like La'an. And I really like Una. I really like Uhura and Himmer. Every Pike I've been in love with for many seasons now.
Well, one previous season, but sure.
I just mean since then. Been so many seasons since then. Not with
you mean like
them. I've just been
talking about like seasons within our year.
There've been 2 seasons of Discovery, and he wasn't in either one of them, and I've been pining for him, as it were.
Yeah. Pining instead of piking for him.
Yeah.
Chris pining instead of Chris pining. Chris pining instead of Chris piking. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's apparently caused some confusion in certain members of the fan base.
The Pine and Pike of it all?
Yeah. Like you talk about Chris Pine and they're like, oh, the new movie's going to be about him. They're talking about they're going to do a movie after the series. And we're like, no, weird. Like Chris Pine, the guy that plays Kirk. Oh, I thought he was the captain of the Enterprise on that news show. That's Pike. Also, he was. What are you? They're just filthy casuals, you might say.
Yeah.
But it's funny to see Chris Pine, Chris Pike I can see the confusion for filthy casuals.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Especially seeing as Pike, while canon, was like a 1 episode flashback thing for a long time for most people. Most people don't know every episode of the original series, so it's like, Pike is, not really that known in the pop culture. So I'm just really enjoying the show. I don't need it to feel like it has stakes. Like I feel like it has as much stakes as most Star Trek shows do, as we talked about a few episodes ago. Like it seems like it's always going to just kind of get back to homeostasis, like get back to the crew is going to stay the crew. Maybe we might lose somebody or gain somebody, but it's not going to be like, this isn't Discovery or a big drama where we're going to be constantly having death and loss. I feel like it's just going to, the crew we don't know, the red shirts as it were, are gonna be lost. And I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. But the red shirts matter. You know what I mean? These lower deckers like really matter to Pike, and that pain is important.
Yeah, and it's not it's not like top-notch Trek to me yet, but I don't think I know. Like, very seldom does a first season of Star Trek ever make me feel like this is top-notch.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So they're getting their feet under them, and they've done pretty damn well, honestly.
Agreed.
There's just always going to be those little cliches that I'm over and I don't want to see any more of.
Right.
And but that's okay. I'm an unhappy person.
I know.
I know you know.
Weirdly, I think this episode, as much as it is basically just one big fight sequence, which I generally don't like. Like, it's just so...
Yeah.
It's that thoughtful, clever, get out of this situation type of fighting that I really enjoy. And it's, it's, like I said, basically just a big space battle the whole time. And that's so much fun. It was really fun.
By the way, this was kind of, I said I didn't care for that whole thing with Uhura and Himmer, like, whether they were like, oh no, are they dead or not? But the thing I really liked about that almost made it worth it was when they said that they were all right, when Uhura finally chimed in over the intercom, freaking Spock turned away from everyone and smiled.
Yeah. They
were subtle about it. It just looks like he turned around to the console, but you could see him like crack a smile as he's turning like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that was nice.
Yeah, that's great.
I enjoyed that.
Just a good episode. I dug it a lot. I can't say enough good about it. And I'm liking all the characters more and more. So
yeah,
it's got me excited for next week.
By the way, if you're a casual fan out there listening to us and you were offended by my usage of the term filthy casual, I apologize and I understand. I am thinking about upgrading that to something more stylistic. I was thinking about maybe grunge cash. Make it seem like a stylistic choice.
I hear you. No,
she's a little grunge cash.
I've heard people be offended by filthy casual, but the truth is,
that's a term for neckbeards. Gatekeeping neckbeards.
Right. But like, if you're using it sincerely, then yes. I don't think that either of us use that sincerely, like that they're actually filthy. I take it is from just online discourse. I call myself a filthy casual of like Star Wars or whatever. Like certain shows, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just filthy casual in that. Like,
No, I don't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. I don't in any way mean anything demeaning. It is a very common internet term to just mean a casual fan of something. Someone who, and really just means like someone who likes it, who doesn't know it as well as I do.
Right. And I'm not trying to be a gatekeeper or anything. When I do, almost every week now, I show up on that Star Trek show hosted by Sean Ray, and freaking like Rick, especially Rick of Starbase 66. Like, I'll say some shit and he'll just school my ass, dude. And I'm like, look, man, I know I don't seem like a real fan right now, but I've got Swiss cheese memory.
Yeah,
like I can't keep all this shit in my head. I can't keep episode titles of the original series and every member of the Hellfire Club from X-Men in my head at the same time.
Choices had to be made, man.
You've got to I have to switch up and go back and forth, refresh my memory. I'm like Kelly Bundy. I read a thing, an old fact leaves my ear.
Yeah.
It's just, I've only got so many neurons, so much capacity.
And not that much at all, really.
No, it's like a floppy drive up in there.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on the Star Trek universe. We'll be back with more next week for next week's Star Trek Strange New Worlds. I'm excited. I'm really excited for this next one.
Yeah, man. I'm interested. I've read that apparently this one's going to be more of a rom-com. This next one.
Weird. Okay.
I don't know. I didn't see a trailer for it, but
I haven't either. Cool.
Yeah, I'm happy though, because at least this podcast now will let our listeners understand why sometimes when I'm trying to think of a sentence, they'll hear me go.
Yeah, Dave's still running on dial-up in his head. Ah, damn it, 56K. All right. Dave, wonderful casting with you this evening. I hope you sleep well.
Yeah,
I'm going
man.
to go to sleep. It's been a long, long day.
My sleep's all messed up. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but
All right.
sleep well, buddy.
Thanks, man. I will. Joel on true.
Live long, sir. Prosper while you're at it.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.